Okay, we are live. I'm going to share this on my personal Facebook page. I hope you do as well. I just did a prompt on Instagram. Hopefully people find us today. One moment, please, as I log in here. Let me do that. Let me do that. Let me do that. Share if you or someone you know has hashtag Lupus. Remember the days before hashtags? What was that like? Please watch and share. There we go. See, not just do as I say, do as I do. I just shared it on my personal Facebook page so other people can find us and get connected to community and support. Hello, everyone. It's so good to be back with all of you today. It's been a minute, right? Between traveling and conferences and preparing for different meetings. I've had so much on my plate. This is such a busy time of year between conferences and holidays and birthdays and um, you know family coming in and lots of events happening and deadlines due for grant submissions and all sorts of things. It's just been insane. So I'm very happy to be back with you today. I hope a lot of people join for today's topic. I'm really excited to kind of give you a debrief of my time at the American College of Rheumatology Summit that happened in DC this past week. I'm really happy to be with you. So I'm just going to delve in and hopefully people find us and join us today. Hello, Facebook, Lupus Live Support Chat. Welcome. Welcome all. As people start to log in, don't forget to share this on your personal Facebook page. It is November 25th. November 25th. I can't even believe it. It has been a few weeks since I have been live with you all. As I mentioned, between work and being at the American College of Rheumatology conference and meetings and getting stuff ready for the conference and grant submission. It's just been crazy. And now here we are a few days before Thanksgiving. So in honor of Thanksgiving, I wanted to share with you some fun tidbits about Turkey Day. I do this sometimes, so bear with me because I find these things fascinating. So turkey is a popular main dish for Thanksgiving. And in total, Americans consume around 46 million turkeys per year. 46 million turkeys per year. Can you believe it? For Thanksgiving. Just for Thanksgiving. But out of all the states, California eats the most turkey. Don't know why, but that's a fact to be known. And the average Thanksgiving turkey weighs about 15 pounds, making it a perfect bird for everyone to enjoy. But even though it is a main choice for Thanksgiving dinner, overall, only 88% of Americans choose turkey. The rest of the population is vegetarian or vegan, or they choose ham or prime rib instead. So only 88% of Americans eat turkey on Thanksgiving. Even so, they consume 46 million turkeys. Crazy, right? Another fun fact about Thanksgiving, 50 million pumpkin pies are eaten every Thanksgiving. 50 million. You would think, though, with it being 50 million pumpkin pies, that would be a national favorite, right? But surprisingly, plot twist here, 20% of Americans opt out of pumpkin pie and prefer to have apple pie or over anything. So apple pie is the favorite pie of choice on Thanksgiving, not pumpkin pie. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. The average person eats 4,500 calories at their Thanksgiving dinner, 4,500 calories at their Thanksgiving dinner alone. That is equivalent to eating 28 donuts, 16 slices of pizza, or 61 chicken wings. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. Many people think that if they hit the gym for an extra 2 hours, it'll just all even out and it'll be fine. But unfortunately, that's not quite the case because people, I didn't do this math, but other people have. I'm stealing this math. It would take 7 hours of running or 15 hours of walking at a brisk walk pace to even out that tasty dinner of 4,500 calories. Yeah. Wow. Yes. Okay, this is really interesting. Hi, everyone joining. Please make sure you tell me your name, where you're joining from, and if you have lupus or another lupus overlap condition, or if you're here to support someone living with lupus. I'm just doing some fun Thanksgiving stuff at the top here. This is fascinating. I did not know this. You learn something new, indeed, every day. Jingle bells. Did you know that Jingle Bells was supposed to be a Thanksgiving song? Did you know that? Jingle Bells was supposed to be a Thanksgiving song published way back in 1857. It was written by James Lord Pierpont to commemorate Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was supposed to be about Thanksgiving, but no, it turned into a Christmas song. The sleigh bells and the jingle bells got conflated, and now it's a Christmas song. Can you believe that? I thought that was really fascinating. Okay, and then lastly, this one is really interesting too. Actually, I have a couple more. I'm just going to go there as people are logging in. TV dinners. TV dinners were born from a Thanksgiving accident. Did you know that? In 1953, an employee of Swanson accidentally made a mass order of Thanksgiving turkeys. To be exact, 260 tons ordered by mistake. In order to get rid of all of them, a very quick on their feet and clever salesperson drew from inspiration of airplane food and how it was served in these little containers and then warmed up. And they thought the idea of packaged a little meal with an aluminum tray could be sold to make up for all of this turkey that was going to go to waste. So the idea was approved, and 5,000 trays were put together with turkey, gravy, peas, and sweet potatoes. And they were sold back then in 1953 for a whopping 98 cents and were a hit. And since then, that happy accident, TV dinners have turned into and become a normal staple of dinners for people on the go, in a rush, or on a budget. So it was all due to a Thanksgiving accident of a massive order of Thanksgiving turkeys by Swanson. Yeah. So happy accident there, I guess, if you like those types of TV dinners. So let's see. Lastly, this is the last one. I was just in Washington, D.C. and saw the White House. And did you know that there is a tradition of pardoning a turkey at the White House? So while Lincoln was president, this goes back to Abe Lincoln, gotta love him, a turkey was going to be killed for Thanksgiving dinner. And his son, God bless his sweet son, his son was so upset and was crying and hysterical and begged President Lincoln to let the turkey live, to not kill the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. And Abraham Lincoln agreed. His heart was softened. He felt so bad. He agreed. And this story started a tradition that has continued to this day. Now, every Thanksgiving since Lincoln's presidency, one lucky turkey is selected to be pardoned by the president. And there's a whole presentation and pictures and everything. And then the turkey is then sent to live on a farm to live out its days and not be eaten on Thanksgiving. They still do this, which I thought that was really fun. All thanks to President Lincoln. So there you go. Lots of facts for your special day with family and friends. And I also know, as we jest about these fun Thanksgiving facts, that there's a lot of feelings wrapped up into the day, the historical ramifications of the day, particularly a lot of grief held by our Indigenous brothers and sisters about this day. So, many different feelings. some really special, warm, cozy feelings, some big feelings of grief and injustice and sadness and loss if you recently lost someone or are triggered by this time of year. So I'm thinking of all of you and sending you so much love this week, particularly on Thursday, um, no matter where you fall in your feelings. And I encourage you to just let it all come, no matter how you may feel about this day, just let it all come. And may your stretchy pants be extra stretchy as you consume those 4,500 calories. So there you go. Oh, let me see. There's some people joining today. Okay, hold on. Really? That's exactly not what I wanted to see this morning. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, then. If you are joining right now, go ahead and refresh your page. Unfortunately, I apologize for that. I didn't catch it right when it was posted because I was on another window here on my banner window, not on my comments window. But I apologize. There was an appropriate message posted. It's gone. That person has been blocked. Refresh your page and it will go away. For those of you who are here to connect with the lupus community and to find information and support and inspiration, please let me know your name, where you're from, and sorry, that's just so disturbing and frustrating. Just give me a second. Yeah. So if you're here for the right reasons, please put your name, where you're from, if you have lupus or lupus overlap illness, and then I'm going to start at the top of the comments and work my way down after we get through today's topic. If you are looking for support, newly diagnosed, or maybe you're struggling to get a diagnosis, you don't know what tests to ask for, maybe you got test results back and you don't understand what they mean. Maybe you're trying to describe how you feel and how this whole chronic illness thing works to your family and friends, and you need help and support. How do you even tell them what lupus is? And you're looking for the words and the vocabulary to describe it. Maybe you're wondering what questions are appropriate to ask your rheumatologist. Maybe you're wondering supplements, good or bad. Maybe you are curious about complementary therapies. Or is exercise safe? What kind of foods are the best foods to eat with a lupus, active lupus? All of those things. Please feel free to post them here. And as I mentioned, I'll do my best to get to those at the end of our discussion. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Kelli, and I am the creator and executive director of the Portland-based nonprofit More Than Lupus. I've been in this space for a while now. At first, I was privileged to be able to work with Molly from Molly's Fun Fighting Lupus and attending their support groups and then facilitating their support groups and then being a client coordinator for them as well. And I worked with Molly's Fun for 7 years and then formed More Than Lupus about 7 years ago as well. So I've been in this space for a bit and have seen and navigated a lot of changes in the landscape of patient advocacy and support and also information and what is there and available to us. And I do my best to get it to you in a way that's accessible and easy to understand and patient-friendly, all those things. So anyway, if you're joining for the first time, More Than Lupus is an inclusive community designed by lupus patients to connect, to grow and inspire you throughout the peaks and the valleys of your one-of-a-kind lupus journey. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I do this every chat because I want to remind you and I want to remind myself that we are more than a sum of everything that is wrong with us. We are more than the medication side effects. We are more than the cold hands. We are more than the sores in our mouths and the dry nose and the hair loss and the rashes and the joint pain and the fatigue and the memory loss and the kidney inflammation. We are more than all of that. I love music. I love dance. I love design. I love a good podcast. I love a good book. I love a good conversation. I love connecting with people one-on-one. I love chocolate. I love spending time with my family. And yeah, I happen to have lived with systemic lupus since the age of 11. And I am your facilitator for today's Facebook Live support chat, hang time, community gathering, forum, connection, whatever you want to call it, I'm here for it. And let's see here, before I go any further, let me go ahead and give you a brief disclaimer, since I tend to get ahead of myself and then I forget to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right now before I lose my track of thought. And here is the disclaimer. Hi, good to see you. The More Than Lupus Facebook Lupus Live support chats are aimed to be a positive and open space where you can both give and receive support and encouragement from others. I'm not a doctor. I'm not Kelli MD. Therefore, I cannot give you medical advice or diagnose the symptoms that you may be having. All that we can do at More Than Lupus is provide you with information and support and resources that hopefully you can in turn take back to your doctors and have an open and honest conversation about what is the best course of action for you. Additionally, this group is intended for those living with lupus or a lupus overlap illness. It's also intended to provide support and encouragement to those who know someone living with lupus or a lupus overlap illness, like a friend, family member, coworker, loved one, neighbor. If you do not fall into these two categories, this is not the right chat for you. As I mentioned, someone joined in first thing off the bat. I didn't see it because I was on a different web page with my streaming app. They posted something inappropriate. I'm so sorry about that. I saw it. I got rid of it. I blocked the person. It happens every once in a while. You know, we are in this age of technology, which is wonderful, but it's also, you have to be careful. And sometimes, for whatever reason, this chat gets shared in spaces and in places it should not be shared. And that's nothing I can control. That's just one person being inappropriate and sharing it. And then you see people who shouldn't be here. So I do my best to see it, get rid of it. And then you will hear me say, refresh your page. I always tell you, don't engage, refresh your page, because it's just not worth the energy to do that and to focus on that person, giving them, attention. Just, I see it, I get rid of it, and then it'll be gone. Okay. So please keep all comments positive and any inappropriate material will be deleted. And I also want to remind you to share this in good spaces, in safe spaces, in appropriate places. So the more you share, the more you care, the more other people are aware. So please share this on your personal Facebook page and any other pages that you manage that you know would benefit from the material and the information and resources we are sharing today. Okay? All right, just another update. We are still really pushing for our Lupus Lifts program. This is something that I worked really hard to get approved, and with the generous help of Aurinia Pharmaceuticals, we've been able to launch this program. And if you're unfamiliar with this program, it is a grant that offers free rides. Free rides. It was just in Portland Metro, but now we've expanded it to accommodate the many places and spaces one needs transportation to if you have lupus. I'm talking about physical therapy, occupational therapy. I'm talking about normal therapy like counseling, massage therapy, acupuncture, infusions, lab work, getting your kidneys checked, doctor's appointments, pre and post surgery. All of those things are valid reasons to use our Lupus Lift program. 1 in 5 adults with limited resources forego healthcare because of transportation barriers, and that is 2.5 times more difficult when systemic lupus is combined with nephritis. And many of you I know who are watching this now live and will be streaming this later have both. So your transportation difficulties goes up 2.5 times more. 2.5 times more because you have SLE and LN. You have to go to more doctors. You have to go to more checkups. You have to go to possibly more infusions and, doctor's appointments, all these different things, okay? So please use this program. It is there for you. If you have any questions, just post them in the chat box here in the comments. I will see them. I will respond to you. lupuslives@gmail.com. You can also email us there. It's a quick survey. It's super easy. I mean, we have made it so simple. You answer 5 questions and that's it. 5 questions, you're good. You're good. And no questions asked after that. We're not going to follow up with you. We're not going to demand you take and track where you're going. We're just trying to see if this is something that will be helpful, that is user-friendly, and that people are engaged and want to continue to use this program, okay? Awesome. Also, don't forget to check out our many blogs on morethanlupus.com. We've got blogs written by patients, from a variety of subjects, from chronic pain to how it feels to be called brave, to ableism, to symptom management, to holiday gift ideas. There's so much there for you that's been catered to continue to fill the needs of the patients. So check those out. All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's get into today's topic. Make sure I stay on this comment page though. Hi guys, if you're joining, please tell me your name, tell me where you're joining from, and if this is your first time joining, and if you have lupus or a lupus overlap condition and how you are doing. So we are going to be talking about today highlights from the world's biggest rheumatology conference, which was held this past week in Washington, D.C. That's called the American College of Rheumatology Convergence. So you have specialists and medical professionals from all over the world, and industry professionals and researchers and clinical trial students and med students. I mean, everybody in the realm of rheumatology, from tech to the hospital to lab to pharmacy, everyone is there at this conference. And every year it's flipped somewhere else. So last year it was in San Diego. Then it was in Chicago and Atlanta and Philadelphia, and it was just in Washington, D.C. So next year it's going to be in Chicago. So really, really great information. It is a whirlwind. And, let me just dive in, okay? I'm not even going to talk more about that because it just was like so crazy. So November is Native American Heritage Month, and before I move on, I just want to say we are continuing to shine a light on this minority and that is impacted the most by lupus. And I had a couple of really great meetings at the American College of Rheumatology Summit last week in Washington, D.C. about how to continue this work. And I'm specifically talking about Alaskan Natives and North American Indigenous peoples impacted by lupus. And the reason I bring this up right now is if you are Alaskan Native or North American Indigenous, please, will you contact us, because we are trying to come up with innovative ideas to address the many health determinants by introducing some sort of online platform that could hopefully be accessible on the reservations and more remote areas. So more to come on that. But if you are Alaska Native or North American Indigenous, please reach out to us. We want to talk to you about some ideas and strategies to put together some sort of online patient program, okay? That was some of the stuff I talked about in DC in my meetings. But I want to kind of catch you up to speed on some of the things I learned when I was at the largest rheumatology conference in the world. As I mentioned, the American College of Rheumatology Summit in Washington, D.C. I was there once again with my fellow patient advocates, Lupus for Lupus, soaking up as much new research and treatments in the pipeline, clinical trial opportunities, and data as I could. It was a wonderful opportunity to connect with other like-minded organizations and partner with industry professionals to enhance health literacy and to bring this information to our patient circles and improve patient resources. It was a whirlwind. It was a nonstop, action-packed conference. And if that wasn't enough, I decided, since it was DC and both my son and my husband had never been to DC, that my son has been studying the Declaration of Independence in school, they should come. So they came along and to see the sites. So while I was there at the conference having my busy days, they made some wonderful memories along the way. I want to be honest, I'm still recovering from that trip. It was a lot. The walking, being on a plane for 5 hours, the time change, the UV lights, the temperature changes, all of them were really hard on me. So I am a space cadet and really trying to focus on getting through this chat because I know it's just, my brain is just like mush right now. So here we go, major takeaways from the ACR. So the ACR released, one of the biggest takeaways of my time there is that they released new clinical practice guidelines for treatment and diagnosing of lupus nephritis. And lupus nephritis is essentially lupus inflammation of the kidneys. So it's where your lupus creates these autoantibodies that attack your healthy kidney tissue by mistake. And when that happens, it causes inflammation in the kidneys and tissue damage. And when your kidneys are inflamed and there's tissue damage in there, if they do not filter properly, then you can have a lot of problems with your blood because your blood is not being filtered. The toxins are not coming out of your blood and being filtered through your kidneys. And so you can have many problems because of that. So it was really exciting to know that they have done this. So I was thinking of posting a screenshot, but they're pretty technical, so I'm not sure if that would be helpful or not. But these new guidelines offer evidence-based expert recommendations for adults and children with lupus kidney involvement, lupus nephritis, and they focus on preserving kidney function and minimizing life-threatening outcomes of lupus nephritis while minimizing medication-related toxicities. So you're trying to find the best medications that will work with the least amount of side effects, essentially. So many different doctors and researchers worked on this, including the Lupus Foundation of America and Dr. Michelle Petrie, who is like the top rheumatology specialist in the US, Dr. Daniel Wallace, Diane Kamen, a lot of different doctors, and they looked at genetic variations that may influence kidney function and also how people metabolize medications. And they identified genome-wide significant variability specific to people of African ancestry. So essentially what that means is that there are certain genes that people of African American ancestry have that can be detrimental if they develop lupus nephritis. And how do they work around that? So this future work will include analysis that encompasses global ancestries and biological links between these genetic variances and lupus nephritis. So that's really cool. Okay. So that was a big thing, it was like announcement, you know, they've got these new guidelines. And then the other thing, obviously, everybody wants to know about future lupus treatments. And there have been some very hopeful and encouraging advances on several existing and investigational drugs that were shared at the meeting. More studies on Saphnelo that came out, on Benlysta, and there's 2 other medications that are being looked at as well. So because a lot of you are taking Benlysta or thinking about starting Saphnelo, or maybe you're on Saphnelo, I'm just going to focus on these. So belimumab, which is Benlysta, they have more clinical trial data, and what they have found, they continue to find, is that Benlysta reduces disease flares when in comparison to placebo in clinical trials in adults with early active systemic lupus erythematosus. And this is very important to understand, that no matter if you think, oh, well, my symptoms are, I'm stable, but I don't know if I feel like $1,000,000. Well, what they're saying is that it's going to, those catastrophic flares, it's going to reduce those. Those ones that are going to really take you down, it's going to reduce those. And that's what they're finding in this data, okay? Another thing about Saphnelo, which is anifrolumab, they found the long-term treatment of Saphnelo is more effective against organ damage than standard treatment alone in people with moderate to severe SLE. What's standard treatment? Well, standard treatment is what we, hold on. Guys, I've had it with the spammers today. Had it. Okay, refresh your page. Thank you. So standard treatment is hydroxychloroquine, corticosteroids, and the available immunosuppressive therapies, which are azathioprine, Cellcept, and methotrexate. The list goes on, right? All of which are approved by the FDA, some of which are approved for lupus, some of which are considered off-label, but have been used for lupus standard of care, okay? So those that are not getting their symptoms met by standard of care, they're finding Saphnelo is effective against organ damage, and it works better than standard treatment alone in people with moderate to severe SLE, okay? And it also, too, it may reduce the use of corticosteroids. And they suggest that the drug may also delay the onset of irreversible organ damage and damage accrual. So this is really wonderful data for people who are nervous about taking Saphnelo, who feel like, well, what's the long-term outcome of this medication, and how do I know it's really going to work, and what is it really going to do? Well, here you go. A lot of these trials have found some great feedback, okay? So those are the medications, as I mentioned. I wonder if I should put, so other medications, I'm just gonna, put this here. You can look it up. Other new ones, other new medications. Now I'm putting the non-brand name in here. I'm not having these spammers today. Okay, refresh your page. Here's that one. Oops. I'm going to do this one for you. The Paisley trial. Okay. And then this one. And if you want to look these up, you can. I'll probably put this all into a blog. The new the meds like I did the year before. Okay, here you go. Okay, you can look up these. So these are ones I didn't mention. Now, obviously, what's the other big thing? Of course, I can't not, I have to mention CAR T, right? CAR T therapy. CAR T therapy is a therapy that was originally used to treat certain types of cancers that are B cell driven, and B cells are a subset of white blood cells. And what they realized is that they can use that technology with B cell driven cancers. Why couldn't they use it with B cell driven diseases and autoimmune diseases, where your B cells attack certain cells by mistake? You have these overactive B cell activators essentially saying attack, attack, attack. Lupus is the B cell driven disease. Some other autoimmune illnesses are B cell driven diseases. So CAR T therapy essentially takes these special T cells and they genetically modify them to make them these super cells that have no memory of autoimmunity. And then when they put them back into your body, essentially it's like resetting your immune system. Your overactive immune system, which can't tell the difference between good cells and bad cells, it resets it. So your body goes on functioning as if it doesn't know to attack your bad cells by mistake. Therefore, there's no inflammation. And when there's no inflammation, your symptoms go down and can even go into remission. Okay, and they've done these studies, and the studies so far look amazing. It continues to emerge as a groundbreaking treatment for lupus and other autoimmune diseases. So they strategically engineer these proteins to alter the function of these immune cells in the body. And it's very exciting. The preliminary data has showed complete B cell depletion, and that it's all looked really great for people. There was one study where 18 people were studied with SLE. They all went into remission, and so far, long-standing drug-free remission. Now, it is, and I'm on a few patient panels that we discuss CAR T, and it is an arduous process, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's wonderful when you hear, remission and symptoms are gone. These people are feeling really wonderful. Is this a cure for lupus? And, I'm very apprehensive when I hear the word cure, just because, as we know, lupus, there are dozens upon dozens of genetic variances linked to the development of lupus, which means that lupus essentially is in your genes. It's in your genes. And then there's an epigenetic component. There's an environmental component that causes your genes to flip on and become active, the disease to become active, whether it's hormone fluctuations, trauma, some sort of virus, bacteria, toxin that causes it to come out, stressor that causes it to come out, right? So even so, with remission, that's wonderful. But could it come back in the future? Yeah, it could come back in the future. But as of right now, they are so stable and showing no symptoms of disease, which is wonderful. In order to get new cells in you, you have to get rid of all your quote unquote bad B cells or overactive T cells, right? So that means that you have to go in and have your T cells destroyed, your B cells destroyed. It's called an immune ablation. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist. I'm just giving you what little bit that I know in my patient lane, and I'm going to try and stay in my patient lane. So those that are in these trials have to commit to coming off their medications. They have to commit to being in a hospital for, some it's a month, some it's a few weeks, some it's longer. Then they're given medication to essentially kill off their immune system. So you kill it off and then you bring it back. And when you bring it back, that's when you get those super cells in you that have no recollection of that autoimmunity, and hopefully it sets you back to have this recovery time, and then your lupus symptoms do not come back. But it's a really hard process, and you do go through a lot. And I don't want to sugarcoat it because you have to be away from people. You are very susceptible during that time in getting infections and feeling pretty lousy. So it is a process. But for those that are kind of at the end of their rope and they've tried and failed all these other therapies, none of them have worked, and maybe they have an allergy to hydroxychloroquine or they can't take Benlysta, this is hope. It is hope. It is a hard process, but it is a marathon. It's not a sprint to get there. So it's not, it's uncomfortable and hard and difficult, but they also are coming up with a lot of different forms of CAR T, some that are using RNA technology and different novel cell-based therapies, and finding that maybe people can recover from it quicker and it's not as depleting as some of these other therapies with CAR T. So lots on CAR T that came up as well. Also, some discussion too about the continued overuse of corticosteroids for treating lupus inflammation, particularly with some of the older rheumatologists who are still using outdated and antiquated lab testing and textbooks that are maybe a little bit apprehensive of the newer therapies. So, and then what does that mean? That means for those of us who have been exposed to corticosteroid therapy for 10, 20, 30 years, those of us, this patient pool, including myself, you are looking at a lot of other health conditions that are going to be difficult to manage. Everything from gum disease, cavities, tooth decay, to glaucoma, to diabetes, blood sugar issues, Addison's disease, all these different problems with how your pancreas and your adrenal glands work, obviously. So a lot of conditions that are detrimental to your health because of long-term steroid use. So the hope is for these newer patients that are being diagnosed that they have a whole list of other options outside of corticosteroids. Now, obviously, we know when it is a life or death situation, you got to take the corticosteroids to get you through because there's no other medication that works as fast or effectively. Okay? It's metabolized by the liver in, I don't know, 45 minutes. There's no other medication we have that works that fast. Now, Saphnelo is actually a faster working medication, so I've been told, than some of the others, but it is still steroids when you're in an emergency situation. Of course, they're going to put you up on those steroids, get that inflammation down, put you on another medication, and hopefully, as that medication kicks in, your steroids are up here, you can kind of taper down, and this medication will take over. That's the hope. The hope. Besides the medication talk, there was a lot of health disparity conversations that continued with DEI and also disability community discussions on ableism. I went to a wonderful session on ableism and things in our medical institutions and things our doctors say that are considered ableistic and they don't even know. Qualifying patients, judging patients, medical gaslighting. But health disparities in lupus are significant and multifaceted and influenced by a variety of historical biases and factors, between socioeconomics and education, access to healthcare, and more. And the disparities in lupus disease management and outcomes across racial and ethnic lines remains a critical area of exploration and discussion. And I'm pulling from the Lupus Foundation of America and some of their highlights from the ACR today and their work on unearthing and shining a light on health disparities. So thank you for their contributions there. So a lot of continued talk on what to do about that and how removing barriers to care can improve health outcomes. And I was happy to hear that because that's what we do here, right? That's why we have the Lupus Lift program. That's why we have these online support groups so everything is accessible. That's why we have our website in English and in Spanish, and why we're continuing to work to shine a light on disproportionately impacted communities of color with lupus. So there we have it. I just talked for a lot. Any questions? Any questions about ACR? Feel free to post any questions, comments, concerns, things you're wondering about. I got to meet some great lupus advocates. Obviously, I was there with Looms for Lupus and Lupus Chat, and LADA was there, Lupus Research Alliance. We were right next door. A lot of people who I'm working on my grants with, I got to meet in person. A lot of the patient boards that I'm on, I got to see them in person. So yeah, so post your questions here while I give you your quote of the day. So for those of you who are maybe haven't been here in a while, I usually do an information portion where I give you information like I just did about a topic, and then I give you a little inspiration. And so today's inspiration is a quote from Francis Collins. Francis Collins is a fascinating man. Let me tell you, I'm obsessed with this book. Okay, if you're not, if you don't believe in a creator or God, totally understand. To each their own. I'm just trying to understand how my shifts in faith and how I view the world and our interconnectedness is changing and growing and expanding, and I love it. Francis Collins is the head of the Human Genome Project, and he's one of the world's leading scientists. And he has worked for decades on the cutting edge and study of DNA and the codes of life, essentially. And he discovered the human genome, and he worked for the NIH for many years. And through the discovery of the human genome, he was able to work in his lab and make so many incredible discoveries regarding genetic mutations and genetic variances that led to genetic disorders such as cystic fibrosis. And when they discovered and sequenced the genes for cystic fibrosis, they were able to make huge advances in treatments for children, whereas before children didn't live past the age of 15, 20, and now many CF people live a pretty full lifespan, which is absolutely incredible. It's a very personal disease to me, and why I have a huge respect for Dr. Francis Collins, not just because of his work with the Genome Project and what led to vaccines that helped with COVID and different things like that, but because of his CF connection. When I was in the hospital, I was telling someone this story when I was at ACR, so I think it's still in my heart. When I was in the hospital as a kid with lupus, and they were trying to just give me medications to help stop the avalanche of symptoms and how tired I was and how awful I felt. And so I was in for long periods of time. And I was always in with the same chronic kids. I saw them quite a bit. Same kids at Children's Hospital Orange County, Children's Hospital LA, mainly Children's Hospital Orange County. And most of my chronic friends' kids, if not 90% of them, had cystic fibrosis. So I knew that disease very well. Even back then, as a preteen and as a teenager, information to me was power, just like it is now. I wanted to be informed about what my journey was like, but also what my friends' journeys were like. So I learned a lot about CF. I asked a lot of questions. I observed. I saw medications they took and the therapies they had and the lack of therapies. And so, unfortunately, actually, all of my friends passed away at some point. Because these therapies work just in the beginning stages, and now they have so many new options and better vests to help with their congestion, mucus production, all these things. But anyway, so Francis Collins, long story short, means a lot to me. His work I take very seriously. He is a scientist who is a man of faith, and it's just really fascinating. So this is just a really quick, he's also a musician. He's a scientist and a musician, and he loves to sing and he writes music. So when he discovered the human genome, he wrote a song, All the Good People, because he realized once he created the human genome, how interconnected we all were, and that we all truly are made of stardust, and what a beautiful thing that is. And he said, this is the song for those who are suffering. Your strength and your spirit have touched one and all. It's your dedication that's our inspiration. Because of your courage, you help us stand tall. I love that. This is a song for those who are suffering. Your strength and your spirit have touched one and all. It's your dedication that's our inspiration. Because of your courage, you help us stand tall. I think the reason I love this quote is that they're going to feel like there's a huge disconnect between the discoveries that are being made at the ACR, the discoveries that are being made in the research lab, in the clinical trials, in the doctors' offices, and the people writing the papers. And it can feel like it's a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of people fighting for grant money and a lot of bureaucratic mumbo jumbo. And where's the funds? We need the funds, and the industry professionals trying to connect, and it's all networking, and it's all this, and it's all that, and you tend to forget about the child. In this instance, he's talking about the CF child. Little girl, me, in the hospital at 11 years old. The 16-year-old boy. You forget about the patient who is hoping for something that will just allow them to sleep at night or be able to reach for their coffee cup without feeling excruciating pain, or to be able to go on a vacation with their family and not fear the avalanche of symptoms that are going to occur afterwards because of the photosensitivity and because of the barometric pressure change that's causing their Sjogren's and their Raynaud's, and all the different things that pop up. You forget. But he didn't forget. And all of his work is done for the people. For the people. And I just really appreciate that. And that's, as hard as ACR is, and it's hard, guys, it's hard to get there. The travel is brutal. That carrying your bag, like my signage, I've got a really horrible neck and arms, and my fingers loose feeling all the time. I'm having a terrible time with having no circulation in my hands right now. It's hard. But the reason I go is not just to bring back all this information, but is to remind them that I'm the reason, we're the reason that these people are doing what they're doing, is so that I can live, that you can live, that whoever's listening to this can live the best life possible, a life at all, to be able to live, right? Yeah. So this is a song for those who are suffering. Your strength and your spirit have touched one and all. It's your dedication that's our inspiration. Because of your courage, you help us stand tall. So he gave credit to the patient. Love it. Love it. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today, guys. I've got 5 minutes here. Everyone's so quiet today. Did I scare you off at my annoyance at all the spammers on earlier? Oh, that was bad. I haven't had that bad of comments in a while. I was not mildly, I was very irritated at that. But hi, Robin. I'm so happy to see you. Guess what, Robin? I will be there hopefully next year. Hello. I think it's Mika, not Micah, right? Did I say it right? So good to see you here. Yes, lunch date. Let's get some pizza again. I was so sad. I was hoping to meet up with Naomi, who lives in DC, this trip, but my schedule was all over the place and I couldn't arrange anything. So I apologize for that, Naomi. I missed you. I'm so sorry. So guys, I have a meeting at 12. So in 4 minutes, I'm going to drink some water because my mouth is really dry. I'm going to use the potty, and then I'm going to come back here for another meeting. So I'm going to let you go. But thanks for joining today. I hope you found this informative, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and don't forget to wear your stretchy pants when you eat that 4,500 calories. And sing Jingle Bells, because apparently if you missed the beginning, Jingle Bells is supposed to be a Thanksgiving song. Yes, it actually was written in 1857 by James Lord Pierpont to commemorate Thanksgiving. So sing Jingle Bells and eat your 50 million pumpkin pies and your 46 million turkeys on Thanksgiving. And I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye for now.